Thank you for being with us. We are continuing our series, You and the Law. And today we are very, very privileged to have with us the principal of the Salgaonkar Law College, Dr. Professor Prasad, who is going to tell us all about the right to information. But before we go into that, I just want to say how grateful we are to Professor Prasad, not only because he found time to come here today, but I have been to the college several times, and he's such a busy person that in spite of all that, he gave us time. Not only he gave us time, he allowed many of his professors to come here and talk to us. So for that, CCR TV is very grateful, sir. Thank you so much.
In fact, it's our honor to have you with you, and it's part of our outreach program under the Law College that we firmly believe Law College existence would be more justified if something we give back to the society. Thank you very much.
That's very kind of you. So, Professor Prasad, today we are going to talk about the right to information.
Yes.
For the benefit of our listeners, can you please tell us whether this right is a fundamental right in our Constitution?
Yeah, I think I need to give you a brief background.
Yeah, sure.
See, Article 19(1)(a) talks about freedom of speech and expression as one of the fundamental rights.
Right, okay.
And it is a systemic right and very important because we are following democracy, therefore speech is obviously important.
That's right.
But the speech has two components. One is that you should be able to think freely the way you want. Second one is you should be able to speak how you think. Now look at the first one. Can I stop you from thinking?
Absolutely not, yeah.
But I can.
Yeah.
For example, when you can think about something, when you see or when you read.
That's right, yeah.
If I ban that,
then the problem starts.
then the problem starts. You can't even think about it.
Yeah.
So right to information or right to know is part of that first part. If unless you have this right to information, you can't think, you can't speak. So that's why you know now all the MPs and MLAs, whoever is contesting in the election, they have to mandatorily fill certain information.
Okay.
You know how it came?
That's right.
It's because the Supreme Court in two cases, one is the Association for Democratic Rights, second one is PUCL, that is People's Union for Civil Liberties. In both the cases, Supreme Court clearly said right to information is a fundamental right. So if I want to choose somebody, I should know the antecedents. So right from 1950, the Supreme Court continuously telling right to information is a fundamental right.
So it's become very important.
Very
important. Fantastic. So when you talk about the right to information, where do I have to go to get this information? Suppose I need it for...
Before that, I would say, do you know that Goa is the second state in the country to pass Right to Information Act?
Oh, really?
In 1997.
Oh, wow.
The first state is state of Tamil Nadu. The second state is the Goa. In
So
1997.
all the other states have not yet done it?
That time.
Okay.
But subsequently what happened in 2005, in the month of May, central government brought this Right to Information Act, applicable throughout the territory of India.
Okay.
So till that time, very few states have this right to information. And ultimately, the present Right to Information Act came into force in October 12 of 2005.
Okay. So would one of the reasons be that the other states were reluctant to come in was because they didn't want MPs and MLAs?
Naturally, they don't want to be more transparency in governance,
right, yeah.
because RTI is going to be a weapon in the people to get transparency.
Okay.
But if you look at in the RTI Act, what is the information that you could ask? What is the meaning of information? First, we need to look at it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So information thing means anything.
That's right. Yeah.
Any material that is available with the authority is an information. So it could be documents, it could be notes, it could be movies, it could be pictures, or it could be even samples, even models. Anything that you could ask if that is available with the authority. And now with the digital era, even a digital information is coming under Right to Information Act. So therefore, if anything is there in your computer, a copy could be asked.
So, can you give me a practical example of what I could ask, say, for example, the Ministry of Health?
Suppose under the Ministry of Health, if the Ministry of Health has started any welfare scheme, you could ask what is that welfare scheme, how it works, how much money the government is allocated, who are the beneficiaries, how much money is spent already, what equipment has purchased by the government, to which hospitals they have given. Any amount of information you can ask.
Okay.
There is absolutely no restriction.
So, for example, using that same example, Professor, could they not tell me that it's none of your business?
You cannot, because under the Right to Information Act, that is precisely why Right to Information Act. In 1950, Supreme Court says right to information is a fundamental right, but why we need 2005 an enactment to pass? Because this act gives you where you could apply, how do you apply, within what time you get information. If you don't get information, whom to approach.
Oh, right, okay.
So that is what we are going to talk about.
That's right, absolutely. So, suppose it's the Ministry of Finance, because they come on with this GST and this, that, and the other.
Yes.
Who do I go to get further details about how this thing came about and why they are harassing the people so much?
See, there are, first thing is you should know what to be asked and what not to be asked.
That's right, yeah.
Second one is to whom to ask. So to start with the first one, what I can ask everything, anything, basically, under the Act. But Section 8 specifically tells us what things you cannot ask. There is a long list. For example, you cannot ask any information that is going to affect sovereignty and integrity of
That's right.
or the strategic movements of army, or scientific research that is happening, or any information that is going to endanger a person's life, violating the privacy of somebody, or if the court has prohibited any publication. So like this, there are lists. That information you cannot ask. But obviously GST doesn't come under that, so you could ask. But there are two cases where the Central Information Commission has added few things. One is that you can ask information that is what is available now. So you cannot ask future. For example, if there is a bridge is under construction, I can ask information what is the stage the bridge is completed, what is the materials used, how much money is spent, but I cannot ask which date you are going to complete. Unless that information is recorded in some place, you cannot ask. Similarly, you cannot ask hypothetical question. If this happens, what would be your response? Okay. Similarly, another important thing is, suppose you have a data, for example, GST. Now, how much tax is collected by each state, you can ask. But you cannot ask the analysis of that data unless the analysis is available with the government. So you have to do your own analysis. And particularly in the education field, we get these kind of letters.
Yeah.
Now, how many students, girl students are studying? We have a list, we will give. But they will ask how many of, what is the percentage and what is the percentage of the students who are passed out, not passed, dropped out. We don't have that information. We have only result. So you can ask only the copy of the result and you do maths.
Right, okay.
So under RTI, you can't ask me to do maths. So this is one. Second one, you are asking, where do I go? Okay. First thing is the RTI will apply only to the public authorities. That means only government agencies or any agency funded by the government, substantially funded by the government. Means even NGOs comes under that if the government is substantially funded. Now, if you want to ask that information from them, every public authority must designate one person as a public information officer.
Okay, right.
So therefore, in your case, if you want to apply for GST, suppose you want to apply for a GST, go to the department, write the letter to the PIO.
Okay, right.
So that is the PIO is liable to give you the information.
I'm talking about our own situation in Goa, where we have the Zuari Bridge under major construction. Now, the contract, as far as I know, stipulates that it will be completed by X date. From the lay people point of view, it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Okay.
So, Do I approach the construction company or do I approach the government to find out what is going on?
Yes. See, one thing first you should understand, RTI is not going to solve all your problems.
Yeah.
It has its own limitations. The Act itself says that right to information. So you collect the necessary information to come to a conclusion whether it is going to be completed or not.
Right.
So for that purpose, you could ask the government what is the contract copy. And in the contract copy, as you said, if there is a fixed date, you will find out.
Right.
And you could also ask the government what is the stage of completion.
Right.
Okay, so you collect the necessary information, and then in case there is a clause, if the bridge is not constructed in time, there must be some penalty clause. And but we can't immediately jump into conclusions because there could be several reasons why there is a delay. Sometimes it could be a delay from the government, or sometimes because of the land dispute, cases pending in the court.
That's right, yeah.
So there could be multiple reasons. That's why under RTI you need to collect entire information and then decide what should be your course.
Is there a clause somewhere in the law that says that the government has to give me a response within a fixed period?
Yeah, under RTI, now once you file an application for information, there are different dates for each one.
Okay.
For example, once you ask for information, within 30 days, the PIO, that is Public Information Officer, must give you information.
Okay.
But the problem is, if that information relating to a third party, that means if you are asking information like a bridge, it's fine. For example, if you are asking information about a particular person, what is his salary, how many days he was on leave, what is the reason for his leave, where all he went for his travel, etc. That means it is a third party information. In that case, the PIO is bound to give you the information within 40 days.
Okay.
However, if the information you are asking pertaining to life and liberty issue, within 48 hours the information should be given.
Oh, I see.
So it all depends upon what sort of information. So if it is a general information, it is 30 days.
All right. Now, is there a kind of a stipulated fee, Professor, that when I put in this application, I must pay some money?
Yes, there is. See, there are two different stages that you need to pay the fees. First one is when you are filing an application, you have to pay 10 rupees.
Okay.
Any amount of information you could ask, but you should pay 10 rupees. Now, how do I pay 10 rupees? You could pay cash to the PIO. They should accept, they cannot refuse. Or you could pay a court stamp, you could just fix on that.
Okay.
You could give postal RD, postal certificate or demand draft, any method you could pay.
Okay.
This is at the time of filing an application. Once you ask the information through filing an application, then the PIO will verify whether such information should be given under the RTI Act or not. Once he decides and says that, yes, this information is available, then he decides how much fees you should pay if you are asking in copies. And that also, it is fixed by the government.
Yeah.
The rate is, if it is one page, A4 size, they should not charge more than 2 rupees per copy, per page. So he has to count the information that you have asked. Say, for example, it costs about 50 pages. Then he will inform you that 50 into 2 rupees, 100 rupees.
Right.
Suppose you want to see only document, you don't want copy, then they should allow you to inspect the copy. The first hour is free.
Can that document which I am given to see, can it be...
No, you can't take picture.
Can't take picture?
You have to ask them to give a copy.
Oh,
And you have to pay the 2 rupees, whatever it is. You can't do that. And also it is not over that. Because it's 5 rupees per hour.
Okay.
Suppose you ask some information which is digital and you want in a CD form, then they charge 50 rupees.
Okay.
So for the one CD, they charge 50. And that reminds me to inform you one thing. Say, for example, you ask something, you want to get something information, but there is already a mechanism under the department to ask that information. There is a certain process that you should follow. You can't ask under RTI. I'll give you an example. For example, if you lose your driving license, what you do?
Okay.
You go to Director of Transport and there would be a fixed form you fill up, and there is a fixed fee to be paid,
Yeah, correct.
and you have to follow that and pay that fees and take the duplicate.
That's right.
Instead of that, file a 10 rupees under RTI and ask whether so and so person has a license and give me the copy of the license, and that you cannot use it.
Okay.
I'll give you another example, particularly in the educational institutions. For example, you write exam, you want to have a copy of your answer script.
That's right.
So there is a prescribed fee. Say, for example, 200 rupees is a prescribed fee under the university. So you have to apply under that provision.
Okay.
And take 200 rupees, pay 200 rupees and take information. Rather than under RTI, each page 2 rupees, so many is 30 pages. You can't circumvent that.
Professor, tell me, there is a time limit to give the information.
Yes.
If the principal officer does not give it within that time schedule, what are...
There are several options. The first thing is there are two ways that this situation can arise. Within 30 days, you are supposed to give information, and no communication was made to the applicant. It is treated as rejected. Second is he rejects by sending you a letter.
All right, okay.
In both the cases, you have a first remedy is make an appeal to the first appellate authority.
Okay.
The first appellate authority is the senior most person in that particular department.
Okay.
For example, in colleges, it is a principal. So you have to make a first appeal. That appeal has to be made within 30 days from the date of rejection. And suppose the first appellate authority, once you file, within 30 days he has to decide.
Okay.
Maximum is 45 days. However, if you are not satisfied with that, you can still go to second appellate authority, what we call as State Information Commission,
Right, okay.
which is there in Pato, in Shram Shakti Bhavan. So you file a second appeal there. So that is the final decision, though you could still approach to the High Court or Supreme Court on the decision of the State Information Commission.
In which case you will have to appoint a lawyer.
You don't require actually, you could do on your own, but because of the technicalities usually you may need. But in the State Information Commission, you could easily defend your case.
Now I understand, Professor, that you can also make an online application.
Yes.
In which case, how does a fee be paid?
You could send a money order, or you could, maybe some of the institutions may be accepting the fees by bank transfers.
Okay, right. You could. Okay. Now, recently there has been, after the new government has set in, there has been some amendments to the RTI.
Yes.
What exactly?
See, there is a lot of misconception about those amendments. Somebody says that the RTI is completely lost its relevance. Somebody says this is a good amendment. See, basically they made only two changes. Previously at the central level there is a Central Information Commission, and each state there is a State Information Commission. The persons who are appointed for both central as well as state, the Act says it is for 5 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. So within 5 years you can't remove unless there are certain conditions. This is one. Second provision is regarding his salary. The salary of the Chief Information Commissioner at the central level is equivalent to the Chief Election Commissioner.
Oh, right.
It is a very, very high position. And commissioners is equivalent to the commissioners of the Election Commission. Right. Same way at the state level, Chief Election Commissioner salary and the Chief Information Commission salary would be the same.
Okay.
So now these two were changed. Right. In the amendment, what it says now, the duration would be as prescribed by the central government. That means it need not be 5 years, it could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years when you are appointed. Okay. That's one thing. Second one is the salaries is as prescribed by the central government. Okay. Therefore, no more equivalent with the chief election.
Diluted the position to some
extent. Yeah, they diluted the position. Now the question is, some people say that it affects the independency of election, the Information Commission. There is some truth in that. But it may not be completely a problem, because even earlier also, who is appointing them?
Yeah, that's right.
It is a government. So probably some dilution has taken place. It could be because of few judgments that came from Central Information Commission. That's what the...
Now, you as the guy who is looking after the law in this for the students, Do you see any changes that are required in RTI?
See, before that, I need to tell you what are the things that brought.
Okay.
See, if you look at the State Central Information Commission in a judgment in 2013 made 6 national parties as public authorities and told them you are under RTI. See, Congress, BJP, CPI, CPM, SP, I think BSP, 6. So now in 2013 this decision was given. Until now they have not come under the RTI. So what they did cleverly is that they have not appointed PIO. Under the Act, if you don't give information, PIO is personally liable for 25,000 maximum punishment.
Oh, I see, okay.
Per day 250, maximum 25,000. Because they don't have a PIO, so CIC cannot punish anyone. The case is pending before the Supreme Court. This is one. The second achievement is CIC told that the Supreme Court coming under RTI. Can you believe that Supreme Court first they refused to declare the assets of the judges? So when they filed a case in the CIC, that is Central Information Commission, they said you are under RTI. So it's a great achievement for an RTI commission to say that the Chief Justice and other judges are coming under RTI. And now if you see during Manmohan Singh's ministry, somebody filed RTI and found out how many foreign trips they have gone and how much money was spent. So even the Prime Minister himself has no idea. So once that has given, when he came to know, then he has cut short so many foreign trips for many bureaucrats.
Okay.
So the assets of judges, assets of the bureaucrats, ministers, everything came because of thing. And more importantly, I hope you have children, I have children. When they write entrance examination, their key has to be published because of RTI.
Okay, all right.
So
it is really a very...
It's really good, but of course there are several changes that we require. For example, PIO is liable to give you within 30 days. But if you don't come and collect the information, there is no punishment. And if you look at in Goa scenario, there would be 5 or 6 RTI crusaders we would call. They would be going filing hundreds and hundreds of applications. So some of them may be frivolous. I do receive very frivolous applicants.
As an appellate authority?
As an appellate authority, I have to sit, I have to decide, I have to write the judgments, I have to give the orders. So there would be a waste. But every law could be prone to be misused.
Thank you very much, Professor, for the information on the right to information. But I just want to touch on something on your personal level.
Yes.
Professor, you are a Fulbright scholar, which is something very special in our country. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this is all about and how it has helped you in your own personal life?
See, Fulbright Scholarship was given in different areas. United States Education Foundation, in association with the Central Government of India, is providing these scholarships. And the Fulbright program is there more than 100 countries. So my Fulbright Scholarship is on clinical legal education. First time it was introduced in 2004. There's only one person will be selected from India. I was the first one to be selected.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And this is particularly designated to promote community engagement by the law colleges. So we have done a lot of legal aid work, providing free legal aid to the society and to the people. So on that I was selected. I went to US to learn how their clinics, legal aid clinics, are working in the United States of America, and some of the good practices that we borrowed. Now we have a very vibrant clinical program in India, and to share you, just 4 days back, one of my clinic, child rights clinic, won a national award for community engagement. Herbert Smith Freehill is a very reputed law firm in UK. They give every year a good college who are involved with the community engagement award. So this year we have won that.
Wow, congratulations for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. But your colleagues at this very panel here were telling us about the various things that you're already doing. It really was quite enlightening for us, because we have, through this channel, told a lot of our people that go, take the advantage of Salgaonkar Law College.
Yes.
They're giving you free benefit of legal advice.
Yes.
And I'm sure that something to do with the Fulbright Scholarship had a lot of
To some
impact
extent.
on that.
Yes, I do agree that there is the work that we are doing was widened after going to America. So my request is use RTI for good purposes, and most importantly, RTI is a very, very beneficial, and so it's not only the government duty, it is also the citizens' duty to use it for a proper purpose. That's very, very important.
Professor, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. I appreciate it very much. And I once again want to thank you, not only for your time, but for giving me your colleagues' time. And I know I've been to your office several times. You're always so busy that I feel terrible to come and disturb you. But we just wanted this to happen, and I'm so happy that you cooperated with us. Thank you.
It's my privilege. Thank you very much.